downtown, Business Bay, Nepal. Everyone speaks about these areas. But which are the actual top 3 areas with the highest rental ROI in Dubai? A little disclaimer, it's not the ones that I just mentioned. At least the majority of them aren't, and definitely not in the order that I mentioned. We're speaking about the highest rental ROI and not the appreciation, not the highest ROI in general, and not even about the best Airbnb returns. In this video, I want to focus specifically on the best 3 areas where, if invested at the right time, you would have seen exponential returns through long-term rentals. So basically, where you could strategically buy in advance or even right now to then rent the property long-term and enjoy substantial returns. Also, these are solely based on my very own observations and experience as an avid investor in the Dubai market and has nothing to do with any real estate agency, developer, or some sort of marketing campaign. Currently in Dubai is 40 degrees Celsius, and that's why I escaped back to my home country of Moldova, and this is also why you'll see a less common background if you're a new subscriber, and a very familiar one for those who follow me from the early beginnings. Which is why, if you are new and enjoying my content so far, I do put a lot of effort into this video and will be extremely thankful if you subscribe. Now let's get back to the topic and highlight some of the facts. The first area which I want to talk about today, it's none other than Al Barari. And I know many of you might be surprised, but in this rare occasion where I actually just focus on long-term rents and the ROI specifically from that, Al Barari just tops the list for me. And the maths is pretty simple. In this video, I will focus on comparing 1-bedroom apartments for buying and renting, and it's going to be super easy to go with the flow and understand exactly why I believe those 3 areas, starting with Al Barari, are the best. So if you go to Property Finder, you would find 1-bedroom apartments in Al Barari for about 1 to 1.3 million dirhams, and the rent for them will be around 100,000 minimum, going up to 200,000, which is crazy. And that is because the area is super popular nowadays. It's very up and coming. It has a lot of greenery and some kind of a formed community already, with villas being there for some time and now apartments and high-rises coming up. And even though it's a little bit further down the main road and around 15 to 20 minutes drive to downtown Dubai, so for me that's actually pretty far, although anyway it's very well respected and everyone wants to go there. That's why a lot of developers in the Dubai market are actually launching and promoting new projects in that specific area. Just recently I was at a presentation from Samana developers that launched some project there, the Al Barari Views, and you would be able to get a studio for about 700,000 dirhams. And when you rent that one out at 100 to 120,000 dirhams, that creates a very, very good ROI that competes with the best areas in the downtown Dubai, which basically makes an ROI of around 6 years, 6 to 7 years if you pay in full. But if you pay with payment plans of 1% per month and you already paid, let's say, up to 30% of the full amount by the time it has been handed over to you, then you can start actually generating profit right away from rentals, and your ROI and payback for that investment would be much shorter. Although Al Barari is not my #1 favorite for any other types of investment, such as Airbnb, which is obviously more preferred in downtown, Business Bay and Marina, because that's where the tourists go. On the other side, Al Barari is really popular for long-term rentals, because that's where people want to go and live long-term and enjoy their calm and relaxed life with their family and kids. Another reason why I picked Al Barari is because the apartments and the villas as well in that area are super high quality. In projects such as the neighborhood, even by looking at the pictures of the properties available on the market, you can see that the quality and the finishings are super neat and so beautiful, and that will definitely add up for your second strategy. Let's say you want to first rent it out and make some regular cash flow from that, but you also are looking at some capital appreciation as well, which definitely helps to top Albarari into my list of top 3. And again, although I personally haven't invested in Albarari, I helped a few clients to get into really good deals there, and some of them they were actually distressed where I was able to get it way below under the market price. And if you're interested in that, I can also help you with that, but that's not my point. The point is that they got a really great deal that just by investing there, they already made some money back. Since for some, I was actually able to get them under 700,000 for studios, and they would be looking at furnishing it and renting it out for around 120,000 dirhams, which is a superb ROI in any country in the world. Now, the second area that I want to talk about is actually Zabil, and that is super trendy nowadays, especially with the launch of the new hotel One and Only, and also the address residences in there, which made it super trendy, and everyone literally wants to buy and flip there. Although, again, in this video, we'll focus on long-term rentals, and that's why I chose this area, because nowadays you can actually get in pretty well and at a pretty good price that would eventually look at generating you amazing returns on long-term rentals. Moreover, they have amazing payment plans as well, and I'm talking about majority of the developers in that area, except of course Himar, which obviously has a more difficult payment plan of 10% usually, and then another 10% every 3 months or so. However, developers such as Wassel Group, they do have amazing payment plans with just 5% down payment. This area will definitely cost you more for a one-bedroom apartment because it's super central. It's located just nearby downtown and on the edge of the IFC and Trade Center, which makes it very luxurious and in high demand. And for one-bedroom apartments at the buying stage, usually off plans, you are looking at around 1.5 to 1.7 million dirhams. And right now, if we check those similar apartments that are being rented out around this area, you would see rental incomes of 250 to 300,000 dirhams per one bedroom. And if that is correct, imagine buying at that right time in that off plan and just waiting until this is handed over to you and you can rent it out, not taking into consideration the years that you waited. You would have a payback of just 5 years, which is superb. But again, most of the developers give you a really good and affordable payment plan where you can pay some percentage throughout the next few years, and by the time it's handed over to you, you are actually not even paying the full amount, but you are able to generate profit from it as you are renting it out to your tenant. Also, this area is actually not having so much space, and the space is very limited and it's going to finish at some point. It's not the desert, which is also another factor that will basically increase the value of those properties and eventually the long-term rental prices. This area is also very interesting because besides long-term rentals and capital appreciation, you can also generate really good significant profits, to be more specific, from Airbnb. Since this area is super central and it's located around the main financial hub, many tourists and specifically business visitors would prefer to stay in that area. Moreover, with the opening of One and Only Zabil, you are actually having this amazing hotel with all the world-class facilities inside, and I think it's around 6 Michelin star restaurants in that, just by the corner. That's exactly why I chose Zabil as my second best area for long-term rentals. Although initially I said that I won't mention any of those areas in my top 3, I still have to choose as the number 3 Business Bay, which is my area of focus and interest and is a very popular area for property investors in Dubai in general. And although I wanted to focus on newer areas and tell you more about what's coming in Dubai, I will do so just right after this point with a bonus section. But until then, I have to mention Business Bay because that's the place where most of the profit is actually generated and seen for investors who prefer long-term rentals. And that includes me as well, because I personally have 3 apartments currently in Business Bay and I'm renting them for long-term, and I have my tenants who are staying there and continuing their rents for the 2nd or 3rd year already. While a few years ago it was very cheap to get into the area and definitely way more affordable than nowadays, it is still possible to get amazing deals, probably not even off plans, maybe even ready, that will generate you a substantial revenue from long-term rentals and a very good payback. Getting back to the maths and the numbers, currently a 1-bedroom apartment in Business Bay, you would find it at around 850 to a million dirhams, while the rental on that is going to be around 75 to 90 if it's unfurnished, and way up more over 100,000 if it's furnished, and if it's furnished well as well, because there are a lot of people who want to stay in the downtown Business Bay area and they want some cool apartments with new designs, and that's what actually makes you special and unique. So if we take a 1-bedroom invested at the right time, maybe let's say as an off plan, you bought it for 750 to 800,000 and you wait and rent it out for around 110,000, then you're making a pretty good payback of around 7 to 8 years. Although again, if you got it with payment plans, if you got a mortgage on that or just refinance it like I did for one of my apartments in Business Bay, then you would see obviously a way shorter payback period and a very high ROI. Besides all that, you would also see a really good capital appreciation because the space in Business Bay is also limited. It's actually pretty crowded nowadays and there are just a few lots left here and there where you can still build. So this definitely makes Business Bay as the top 3 area for me. And besides long-term rentals, obviously since it's in a very touristy place, you would be able to also make good money from Airbnb and booking. But if you have some questions specifically about Business Bay and also any of these other areas, feel free to reach out and I'll be more than happy to help you find the right property for you, since I'm not tied to any agency or development company. Nevertheless, some of the other bonus areas that I want you to check them out and do the same comparison for a 1-bedroom to buy to a 1-bedroom to rent in just simple terms to make a very high level comparison and understanding for your own interests and see which one works. These are MBR, Al Jadaf, City Walk, and Greens. 4 areas that I really recommend you to check them out and see how it's like if you actually like them, because I personally found some interesting deals there, and if you're also interested to discuss them with me, do reach out. I have consultation sessions, so let's discuss them together and find something really good for you and that will bring you the most out of your budget. And with that, I thank you for watching. I hope you liked this short video this time, but I'm traveling in Europe and I'll still try to make more of these videos for you guys. So if you do like it, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe, and see you in the next one.